Welcome to Perspectives with Katie Kempner, which is a series of inspiring conversations with successful working women balancing busy lives. Today, my guest is Billock of Ark Advisors. Hello, Anne.
Hello.
Thank you for joining me.
My pleasure.
I know you've had a pretty amazing career working on both the client and advertising side. Can you talk a little bit about your career and what you do today?
I've been working for myself really for the past 10 years, and I've been doing consulting for about 20 years, but it was a natural outgrowth of the other things that I had done. At first I started in publishing, then I moved to direct marketing, which led to a job offer in advertising. Then I worked at General Foods, which is now Kraft, and after that it led me back to advertising, which I had missed terribly. Working on the corporate side was fun, but advertising is where my heart really was. I worked there for quite a number of years and worked at various global corporations. Then went through a brief illness. During that year I had an opportunity to really think about my life, and I realized that I really wanted to be an entrepreneur. And I really didn't want to work in the corporate world anymore. It wasn't meant for me, and I don't think I was meant for it. And ever since then I've been sort of taking a path that led eventually to the kind of consulting I do today.
You know, it's interesting because I was just in London during Advertising Week Europe, and I was talking to a bunch of women who are their own bosses, who are entrepreneurs, and they said that the only way a woman could find true success was being on her own. Do you think that that's true?
I think it's a wonderful way to find personal and professional success, because you're the person who's in charge of your balance, as opposed to another entity that dictates how many hours you have to do certain things, or you've got to work this weekend or whatever.
Now, I had Carol Watson, who's a president of Ani, on the show once, and she was saying your life is an evolution, and you can go out and have your own business, and then you can go back and work for another company. Do you think it's fluid like that?
Well, it's very interesting because I did that.
Oh, you did?
I consulted for about 10 years, and then I got an offer to be the CMO of a fairly large agency. And I took the job, and I realized that it wasn't for me. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed the entrepreneurial life. I enjoyed the flexibility it gave me. And I think in probably a very strange way, I probably enjoyed the uncertainty of it as well. But the most important thing is that I realized how much I loved what I had been doing. Mm-hmm. I love consulting. I consider it advising, teaching. I love also seeing the effect and impact it can have on others.
So I know you have 2 children. How are you able to balance everything, your work life, your home life?
It was very hard at the beginning because, again, I worked in large corporations, and it was very, very hard because I wanted to go home. And the agency world is all that comfortable with people going home. I think things have changed a lot today because we can work from anywhere. But at the time, there was, I feel, perhaps a perception that you weren't as much of a team player if you put your family first. And you can't help but put your family first. So it was a little difficult. At the same time, I loved the excitement of the business. I loved the fact that I was one of the women who were moving up in the business, but it was tough. And when I had that year where I had a chance to reflect, I really recognized that I really, really want to be in charge of my life.
So it's important for women then to stop where they are and reflect and think about what they really want to do.
I think it's important for everyone.
Yeah.
But I think women are faced with it more dramatically when they have children. You're still the one making the doctor's appointments. You're still the one making the play dates. You're still the one worrying, is my kid okay in school? And I think that it's really, really important to understand that you need a little bit more control. I think it's very exciting what's happening today because I think there's tremendous flexibility for women and a greater understanding of their value.
You know, I agree with you in so many ways that there is so much more flexibility, and yet when you look at industries, and let's talk about advertising because it's the one that we both know, the best, there's still so fewer women at the top.
Yes.
Why do you think that is, and what do you think can we do to change it?
I think women make braver choices than men sometimes. I think part of it is that men, I think historically and even today, are rare to be the major breadwinners. Not that that's necessarily the case, but I think also that I think women are braver. I really do, and that's not a negative comment about men. I just think we're braver, and I think that we're willing to take more risks. Again, possibly because we're not considered necessarily the sole breadwinner. But I've been the sole breadwinner for my children for over 20 years. I've had ups and downs as a consultant. We've got a very successful business, and I'm very grateful. But at the same time, it's a very volatile business, just like the entire advertising world. And for me, winning is balancing it all and keeping everybody, including myself, happy.
Really, that's what it's about. I mean, you can call it balance, you can call it whatever you want, but it's about figuring out how to make your life work for you.
It is, absolutely, and everybody has a different perception. The consultants in our industry tend to be small businesses. Some of them do very, very well, and we've been fortunate to do well, but we work from home. I have a life, and it's wonderful. It really is, and I can work 24/7, and I do, but it's when I choose to, and this is what works for me.
If you had 3 things that you could tell someone who was starting out now, what would they be?
Number one, that you can't plan it. A career is in many ways serendipitous, and you have to have the courage to follow roads that you didn't expect to follow. Number two, to relax. And number three, just know that you'll find your own way if you follow your own instincts in your heart.
That's so inspiring. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Same here. Thank you.